This is Only Horror. If you can hear me, then it's already too late. Let's begin. I made one mistake working the overnight shift at that gas station. If a car pulls in and no one gets out, don't go outside. It wasn't the kind of gas station most people would recognize now. It sat off a long, empty stretch of highway with no town nearby, no neighborhoods, no other businesses for miles, just road, fields, and darkness. During the day, it looked old. At night, it looked forgotten. The place had been there forever. You could tell from the faded sign, the yellowed ceiling panels, and the pumps that still ran slower than anything else on the highway. Most stations had gone self-serve years before. This one hadn't. If someone pulled in, I had to go out and pump it for them. That was the job. The owner liked to say people appreciated real service. Mostly it just meant I spent half my shift standing under flickering lights in the cold. There were only 3 pumps, a cracked concrete island, a little store with weak fluorescent lights, and one lamppost at the edge of the lot that buzzed loudly when it worked and went out whenever it felt like it. That light was almost worse than no light at all. When it cut out, the darkness didn't just get deeper, it felt closer. My shift was 10 p.m. to 6 in the morning. After midnight, the place basically died. Not officially. The sign stayed lit, the register stayed open, the coffee kept burning on the warmer. But in reality, nobody came. Maybe one trucker. Maybe someone half asleep trying to stretch their drive a little farther. Sometimes nobody at all. The rest of the time, it was just me. And the sounds that took over when people were gone. The hum of the coolers, the old wiring in the walls, the soft metal pinging from the pumps cooling down outside. And every now and then, the front phone. It almost never rang after midnight. So when it did, you noticed. By the time this happened, I'd been there a little over 3 weeks. Long enough to know the routine. Long enough to know when something felt wrong. That night had been dead, even by our standards. A couple customers before midnight. A local farmer who always paid cash. A guy in a pickup who didn't say a word beyond regular. Then nothing. At 1:30, I locked the side door, wiped down the counter, and checked my phone. 2:13 a.m. That time stuck with me. I remember staring at it for a second longer than I needed to, like something in me had already started paying attention. That's when the headlights turned into the lot. There was no long approach, no gradual glow coming down the highway. 1 second the road was empty. The next, a car was rolling in under the sign. I sat up straight. Something about it felt wrong immediately. The car moved slowly, too slowly, past the first pump, past the second. Then it stopped at pump 3, the farthest one, the one nobody used unless the others were taken. I waited for the driver's door to open. It didn't. No dome light, no movement, just the low idle of the engine and headlights pointed toward the building. I was still watching when the phone rang. The sound hit so hard in the quiet that I actually flinched. I picked it up. "Highway fuel," I said. Nothing. Not static, not breathing, just a dead, open silence. I waited. Hello? Still nothing. Then the line clicked, and it was gone. By the time I set the phone down and looked back outside, the car was still sitting there, engine running, nobody getting out. I remember thinking maybe the driver was drunk, or asleep, or messing with me. But a customer was waiting, and at that station that meant I had to go out there. I grabbed my jacket, stepped outside, and headed for pump 3. The lamppost at the end of the lot buzzed once overhead, then went dark. The whole far side of the station dropped into shadow. Only the store lights and the car's headlights were left. I kept walking. The air felt colder than it should have. Still, heavy. When I got to the driver's side, I bent a little and looked in through the window. Empty. I stopped, leaned closer. Driver's seat, empty. Passenger seat, empty. Back seat, nothing. No movement, no shape, no one. But the car was running. I could hear it, feel the vibration through the door. My chest tightened. Not fear exactly. More like that sudden pressure you get when something stops making sense too fast. I stepped back and looked around the lot. Open concrete, no blind spots. No place someone could have slipped past me without being seen. And then the lamppost clicked back on. For half a second, the whole lot lit up again. The car, the pumps, the side of the building, the front door opening. I turned. A man was walking into the store, tall, thin, moving at a normal pace, like nothing was wrong. My brain couldn't catch up. There was no way he'd come from that car. No way he'd passed me. I would have seen him. I went back inside fast, trying not to run. By the time I got behind the counter, he was already there, waiting, not browsing, not looking at the drinks or cigarettes, just standing at the register. Facing forward, I tried to steady my voice. "Hey," I said, "you need regular?" He didn't answer. He just stared, and the longer I looked at his face, the harder it was to focus on it. Nothing was visibly wrong, but my eyes wouldn't settle on him. Like something about him kept slipping out of place the second I tried to pin it down. Then he spoke. "Pump 3. His voice was wrong, flat, delayed, like the words got to me a second after he said them. I glanced at the register, and my stomach dropped. Pump 3 was already active. The numbers were climbing. Slowly. No sales started. No button pressed. Just running. I looked back at him. Cash or card? Pause. Too long. Cash. He reached into his pocket. Slowly. Too slowly. Like he was copying the movement from memory. His hand shook when he set the money on the counter. Not nervous. Uncontrolled. Like it wasn't fully under his command. I took the bills. The amount was exact. Not almost exact. Exact. Enough to stop the pump at an even number before I ever touched the register. "You're good," I said. He didn't react, didn't thank me, didn't move right away. Then he turned and walked out. I watched him the entire time. He passed pump 3, didn't stop, didn't look at the car. He just kept walking, straight into the darkness beyond the edge of the lot, until I couldn't see him anymore. I stood there for a second, then looked back outside. The car was still there, still running, still empty. I didn't want to go back out. Every part of me said lock the door and leave it alone, but pump 3 was still counting up. The old pumps didn't stop on their own unless you hung the handle back or they hit the prepaid amount. And if they hit the amount first, I would still have to go out there. So I waited. I watched the numbers creep higher from behind the counter. Each 1/10 of a gallon seemed to take forever. The whole time, the car sat motionless under the weak lights with no one inside it. At one point, the lamppost went out again. When it came back, the passenger door looked slightly open. I stared at it so hard my eyes watered. I honestly couldn't tell if it had moved or if the angle just looked different in the dark. Then the pump stopped. The total landed exactly where the cash on my counter said it should. I locked the front door before I realized I was doing it. Then I stayed behind the register and watched the lot for the rest of the night. Every few minutes, I checked pump 3. The car never moved. Not once. Around 5:45, the sky started to lighten. My replacement pulled in, and the car was gone. No headlights, no engine, no sound, just gone. Like it had never been there. Later that morning, I told my manager everything. He listened without interrupting, didn't laugh, didn't question me. When I finished, he just asked, "Did it pay?" I frowned. "What?" "Pump 3, he said. "Did it pay?" I said, "Yeah." He nodded once. "All right." That was it. I stared at him. "Has this happened before?" He hesitated, then sighed. "Just don't go outside," he said, "when they don't get out of the car." My stomach dropped. When who doesn't? He didn't answer, just turned and walked into the back. Later, before I left, I checked the register. Pump 3 had been paid, in cash, exact change. But the sale time listed on the receipt was 2:11 a.m., 2 minutes before the car even pulled in. If you enjoyed tonight's story, drop a comment and tell me where you're listening from. And if you want more horror like this, make sure you're subscribed. New stories are coming soon. Until next time, keep the lights on.